What is it and what can you do with it? Video Barbershop just launched on the Apple App Store. My name is Joby Bednar. I lovingly crafted Video Barbershop, as it says. This has been a passion project for the last year, and I'm really excited about what I've been able to do here and how you could leverage Video Barbershop. Now, it is designed to be a bulk video editor, and it has a slightly different paradigm than most video editing suites that are multi-track editing, where you can layer over videos and audio and kind of put them all together and export a single video. This is designed very specifically in mind as a bulk kind of editor, and mainly focused on VHS tapes and the kinds of issues that you come across when dealing with VHS tapes. I have a number of different types of videos here, and so I'm just going to show off some of the features to give you an idea of how it works and what you can do with it. So the first thing, I think one of its killer features is commercial break detection, and it has this is the basic clipping interface. Normally you go through and find segments, define the start and end time. I'm using A and D here on the keyboard as shortcuts, S to snip, and it creates a clip. And you can go through your video and you can clip it as much as you want and however you want. You can even layer these over. And this is one of the big differences. This is not a multi-track editing timeline. And the paradigm behind this is that this is the video track itself of this video. And each of these clips represent a snippet out of that video that's represented here. And these controls here allow you to edit the details of the video itself, the entire video, not necessarily the clips, but what changes you make will affect all of the clips. And so let me show you, for example. Even though I've just made all these clips, I'm going to go into this luminance adjustment, and you can see this actually will help adjust the color mapping of it. Now in this case, there isn't much of a difference. So I'm going to switch into the advanced mode. There's a little normal mode, advanced mode. In the advanced mode, you can customize this range. Now, this remapping, normally with VHS tapes, it compresses the image data over the regular CRT TV signal. Over the air, it would compress color data and it would preserve the blacks and the whites for signal line switching and closed captioning and stuff. And so those were reserved, frequencies. But capture cards sometimes don't understand that. Televisions, VCRs, they understood that and they'd expand the color data back out. Modern caption cards may just capture the raw data, and you can see here in this luminance, my capture device, not the highest of quality, it captured the information, but it snapped it back to zero, and so everything is kind of shifted down and darkened a little bit. So in my case, for my capture device, what I want to do is create kind of a custom, but that minimum, I want to keep that as the black, but the white, I want to bring that down. So what it does is this region here then gets expanded back out into the full range. So now this is more of the whites in the video, in the blacks, and so you'll see here, I'll just put it back so you can see the difference. Here's the raw data I have, and then if I do this and remap it, it kind of brightens everything up and makes it pop a little bit better. So very common if you convert VHS tapes and you see the video is much darker than what it looks like when you're playing the tape over your VCR, this is the issue that you're trying to resolve. So that's one thing that's real simple to do. However, getting back to the clips, these buttons affect the video as a whole. Every clip that is created will now take on these presets. So even though I clipped these previously, of course, these are bad examples. There's a better example. So even though I clipped these previously, it's now every one of the clips now takes on this brightness. And these apply globally for all clips, no matter when you clip them. So you don't even have to make adjustments after the fact. If I do another clip, it'll be just as bright as all the others. And I can show so like red, I can take out the red here, and you can see every one of these clips now has the red taken out of it. So these controls affect the video as a whole. And the paradigm of this then is that when you select a clip, these buttons are the clip specific overrides and controls. And you'll see some of these are duplicated. Those allow you to override specifically for that clip. I can override this and say, for this clip, I don't want any remapping. And it goes back to the original. Or, for this clip, for example, I want to scale this image up. For this clip only, I'm scaling it. I'm going to create like a slight offset and kind of zoom in on his face a little bit more. So you can create clips and then adjust them specific to that, or you can do it globally for all clips coming out of the video. Now, this is probably a good example. You can see there's some black lines here on the sides, and that's again, my device is capturing the raw data, and this is blanking lines for the scan line of the CRT TV to know that it hit the end of the line to now go down a line. But my capture device captured that and preserves it. There's also, it's hard to see here because it's faded. It's also similar on the bottom. But what I can do is throw it up in the corner, and then I can just scale this uniformly. A couple, it's a little fuzz over there, so maybe not in the center. Maybe I want to center it instead of put it in the corner. But I'm just expanding it out, 4%, and fixing that gap. Now every clip, again, every clip has been now fixed. So you can apply changes globally to all clips by applying them here, and override them specifically in the clips in here. And so that's the paradigm. And then this clip queue that you have is what you're actually exporting. And by default, I'm assuming you actually want each of these clips as individual files. And this is where the paradigm is a bit different than a lot of the multi-track software for video editing. Is they pretty much assume that you're creating a single video, and all of the clips that you're creating and adding to the timeline contribute to that one whole video. I'm more interested in creating assets and clips that you then use in other ways. And so the default here is that you'll actually have these as separate files. However, I do have the ability with the click of a button, instead of exporting the clips individually, you can merge them all together. So in a sense, this is actually your timeline. If you just think of these clips in order as being merged together into a video. And you can grab and move these around and change the positions. You can snap them to the top or bottom with these arrows and shortcuts. I have the ability to delete them. You can duplicate clips. And so if you want to do kind of a max headroom style stutter, you can create a real short clip and then duplicate it a bunch of times. If you want to duplicate them within, after here and not at the end, automatically it would do it at the end. You can duplicate a flagging. Flagging the clip will put anything you do after the flagged clip here. So even, on this timeline, I create a new clip and I want that, it actually inserted it right here after the flag. So you can toggle that and play with the ordering of all these clips. And then when you merge it and export it, the options that you have here, you can change the format. And with MOV, it's worth knowing that by default, I do the ProRes 444 4444 codec, which supports alpha transparency. So you can edit clips here that have alpha transparencies very easily. You can do every feature here that you see you can do with an alpha based clip and export it, preserving the transparency. And so just be aware of that. The MP4 by default. You can change the resolution. It's a little hard to see. A lot of these are falling off the screen. It goes up to 4K UHD format here is the highest resolution you can do. It's off the screen here, but there's some square. There's portraits are also off the screen. Portrait videos, I'm just going to select a portrait full HD, so you can see it is going to export it, and it shows a preview of what you're doing. And in these clips, for example, let me go here, I can do full screen it, and so we can, this is a horrible video to show, but you could actually throw that into something that you want to put on social media. Totally viable to do that. If you want a same resolution as source, you can even downgrade it, make it smaller, stick it to, keep it to a regular source here. As you can see, 640 by 480, I'm going to go back to original size. And so you can see that there's actually the gap that I was talking about there. But you can play with a lot of these settings. And something to be aware of are, and this is where the bulk editing really comes in, I should say, is these buttons here. You may have noticed them, wondered what they are. All of the controls, or most of the controls, have these types of buttons. And in the clips controls specifically, you'll see this single stack plus button. If you make an adjustment and click this button, it applies it to all the clips here. So you can take something and say you fix the scale and you're like, oh, actually, I want that for everything. Let's do something extreme here. You click this and you see it applied it to all the clips here. So now every clip in here, as you can see, each one of these were duplicated. They're now the exact same setting as it was before. And so it's very similar to kind of push it back up into this type of applied globally to all the clips kind of a thing, but it allows you to make real quick edits once and then just push them out to everything that you've done. Now, for example, I have this where I have no clips whatsoever, but let me just show you that the clips here, what I can do if I wanted, let's override this one clip's color. Let's crank up the green and drop out the red. I can apply this to both clips in the queue. So now this has the same override. However, if I hold down the Option key, this double stack that you see actually applies to all clips in all queues from all videos. And so with the click of a button, I've now gone through and applied that same override to every single clip I have. So as you can see, if you're doing the same type of thing to a large variety of clips, if you've bulk converted multiple VHS tapes and they all have a similar issue, you literally can just fix it once and then just push it out to everything in your queue and you'll be good to go. Now, I do have multiple videos with multiple clips now, and you'll see it opened up a new set of controls here where instead of just exporting the clips and merging the clips from the queue here, these controls are the bulk edit and export across all videos. These are all clips from all videos individually exported. This is merging each block of clips from each video. So all of these will be merged together into one file, and then these will be merged together into one file if I do merge each. And then there's merge all, where it's systematically merging everything. And it goes systematically between the very first video down to the last video, from the first clip to the last clip. And so again, here you can organize these how you want. So in some ways you can think of both the videos list and the clips list, and the clip queue here, as kind of your virtual timeline. If you want to wrap your head around that, that is the real heart of what Video Barbershop is and how it's different from other editing suites. It's designed specifically for you to correct the clips out of VHS tapes that you like, and do it very quickly and easily. Now, getting back to the clipping, I'm just going to delete everything here real quick, but let's get back to clipping. So these are the clipping controls, and you can just clip the entire video and then work off of that. I'm double clicking here. You can see some of the kind of quick behaviors. You can hop around and do things in, and you can take this tape and adjust it from here. From here, say I don't like it exactly there. Hopping over to this control, this is the beginning of the clip, this is the end of the clip control, and from here you can adjust things like, I actually want the clip to start. I'm using the arrow keys. Let's kind of show, actually let's use number pad. I can hop through frames faster with the number pad. And then I'm going to set the time right there. So I just hit that button and it clipped it as to where my cursor was. And so you can adjust clips after you've made them very easily. There's a whole bunch of different stuff you can do. You can, right here, say I want to, right there, I want to split that into multiple clips. I can do that. I can, again, at the end here, I'd be like, at the end of this clip, I actually want to merge it back into that. So absorb the next clip. So it absorbs that and creates, as you can see, it takes that clip and extends it to the other clip itself. Now it preserved this clip, and that is actually a bug. I didn't mean I didn't mean for that to happen. So I have some work to do. So this is version 1.32. I'm sure version 1.33 will come out very shortly. If you do find some weird oddities, or if you have ideas of how you would like this app to behave, new features to add, let me know. I'll definitely add them in future versions. But this is actively being further developed. I've been working on this for a year. I use this. I love this app, and I really care about it. And so I'm going to continue to, keep developing this. But anyway, I'll let you play with stuff, but you can do, fades really quickly and easily. By default, I'm going to go into the advanced controls, and I have more controls here where I can actually have this not be fade to black, but technically be a fade to transparent. And you can kind of vaguely see there's a checkerboard here representing the transparency that it actually truly exists as. If you export it as an MOV, this will be transparent. So you could use this asset now that you've created in one of the other suites and layer it over and have crossfades go. Of course their apps can do all this as well, but sometimes it's a lot faster and easier to do it in my app. For example, you can make all your clips, give them a slight fade that you like, and then just push it out to, again, holding down the Option key, push it out to all clips everywhere, and suddenly, they all are this way. And then you can bulk export all of these clips very quickly and easily. I think far quicker than other programs, even though you can do it in those programs. Sometimes creating the assets in Video Barbershop is, much faster to do. But anyway, getting back to, so there's a ton of features in here. There's text overlays, there's watermarking where you can add an image. For example, I've got a watermark here. I'm just gonna drop this in, and oh, I'm in the fade. Oh, it's huge, so I want to scale it down. Normally, you might want to create something consistent and offset it in exactly where you want, so that all you have to do is just drop the watermark in and you're good to go. This is a little off. I'm going to go into the advanced controls where I can actually adjust this more. Ideally, you'd probably have a graphic that is at the right size you want. I'm going to snap it in the corner, maybe kind of pull it off a little bit, bring it up a little bit. Well, that's maybe still a little too. There's our watermark. Let's pretend I like that. Let's also drop it down, maybe 50% transparency, right? Say I like that. So I'm going to push it out, but I'm going to push it out to everything. Now, as you go into the clips, you'll see these clips are done here. Where were my other clips? My other clips here, they have the transparency now and the watermark pushed out to them. So again, bulk editing very easily and quickly. There's a lot of great stuff in here to be done easily. You'll see keyframes in a lot of the advanced controls. You can keyframe these. I'm not going to go into full detail of everything that you can do in the app. I'm going to create more videos. If you look at the history of this YouTube channel, I have a ton of videos from when I was developing the app. Some of the controls may or may not be different now, just be aware, but I do cover a lot of this in excruciating detail in those videos, but I'll update them and make them more condensed. But anyway, just to give you an idea of what you're capable of doing and how you're capable of doing it here, this is the system that you can do. Now, the other thing that I really want to talk about, this is kind of a secret weapon of this app that is really powerful, is you can create metadata for both the videos themselves. I don't have anything defined. You'll see this when you first go into the app because nothing is defined. I've created this chapter title. I'm going to just call it clip. Just as an example. And what this is it's metadata that you can define yourself and then you can leverage in reports. Now I have a report called YouTube, and if I select that, I can export my clips. And when I export them, it's going to generate a report for me. And what this report is, and I'm going to show you a little trick here, again holding down the Option key, has a shortcut where it turns this into just generates the report. I'm going to put that in export. Let's export the report just so you can see. So it's exported. I exported clips. It's generated a report for each of the clips. So each one of these is that report. And you'll see a timeline and it says clicking commercial. That's the export as file name. But in this one, you'll see it says clip, and that's my clip title. Now, this doesn't look so exciting, but if we go back to here and we click out the merge and we save that, what this has is, I believe this is the merged one. Yeah, so this has time codes for when that clip existed within the timeline that was exported. And so this is my report that when I generate clips and merge them together, it'll create chapter markers for me. And it's in the format that YouTube likes as chapter markers. And so I can copy and paste that into YouTube on the video. And it's a very powerful system. I'm going to go into the settings here. But in the app settings, which if you go into settings here, it'll pop open this menu here. If you go into the metadata, you can define the metadata, and there's a whole system in here with a lot of details. There's the metadata system, there's the help section if you have any questions, there's a whole bunch of links how you can watch tutorials and keep track of me. If you need to ask me questions, please do. But you can define metadata, and so for this one example, it's a clips scope, so it appears in clips, not in videos. And it has these titles, and it's a type of text, and you can do different types of metadata. And then the templates, I've created a YouTube template. And in the template, it uses my metadata template language that I've created. And it's a very powerful, very robust language. And again, there's a ton of information about this, but there's all sorts of variables that you can tap into, stacks. There's all sorts of transformers that adjust how things are formatted. It's a whole scripting language into itself, to be honest. It's kind of over the top, but it allows you to define these things. I'm taking the clip start time and I'm truncating everything or I'm just using everything that's to the left of the decimal place. That's what this is. And then for here, I'm using my clip chapter that I created, metadata. However, if I didn't define it, I'm using a default, and that's what this is. And the default is the video's export as file name. So that is the logic of this one line of code. In this template system, you can generate any custom format. There's a header version where it does it once per video, and then the clip per clip template generates this once per clip within the merged video. Again, you can find all sorts of information about this, but it allows you for some very powerful combination of exporting stuff that you may add if you're adding information into a database and you're editing and adding, maybe you have an Excel sheet of your clips that you archive, and you can create a custom report. You just type in the fields as you're editing the clips, and it'll generate that report, and you can do it in a tab delimited format that you copy and paste into Excel to update your database. It's really easy to do that kind of stuff. Even the export file name structure that I'm using, when you do export clips, it names it very specifically as the export file name, and then it appends a numbering, the index number padded with some zeros. That's actually completely customizable. So you can, even as you're working on merging workflow, you can change this in that templating language. It's incredibly powerful. I think one of its secret weapons, and I think this is just going to be really helpful to people. This little bubble down here has tons of information for all sorts of topics. Every section that you go into, if you click this little help button, there's more information about what you can do with clipping here, for example. I go into detail about clipping and the controls and the shortcuts that are available in the system. So, don't just attempt to use the app and think that these buttons are the entire interface. There's a lot of shortcuts, key commands, and it's all documented in here for you. And there's both advanced controls and regular controls depending on your comfort level and how much you really want to geek out about stuff. But again, I kept wanting to talk about this, and I'm going around. I'm just so excited. So I'm going to take this a series of commercials from this TV movie. And what I specifically like to do is I like to look for commercials, and I archive commercials. Okay, so I've got a spot in here now. It's commercial break. I'm going to calibrate this to that commercial break, and I'm going to clip everything. And so this is, to be honest, I think this is the other secret weapon of the app, is that it will automatically detect commercial breaks between commercials and programs and automatically clip them for you. And so you can see it's going through. It's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. You can adjust the speed of it as well, and the accuracy. It's technically skipping every 3 frames. So it's not totally perfectly accurate in this, but it's much faster than it would be if it's trying to analyze every single frame. But it both checks the noise level and brightness level of it. And so you can calibrate this to the quality of the VHS tape you have. Maybe it's staticky, it's not totally black. Maybe it's noisy with the static. You can calibrate this to those levels so that it has an effective floor and blackness to it. Now this, as you can see, wasn't exactly calibrated all that great, and so it missed a ton of commercials in here. So I'm going to go back. I must have grabbed exactly kind of a. Well, let's find a commercial. There we go. Let's actually go through. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go into here. Let's check. Oh, yeah, so that's calibrated. A little noisier, a little brighter. Let's try that. Now, if I click this again, you'll see everything that's been clipped, it'll be deleted and it'll start over again. So you can go through and kind of calibrate and check it and try it again. And we'll just go with this one as an example here, but it's an algorithm that will search for these moments within your tape and then kind of backtrack and go back to the middle of where that black mark happened, where that those black frames happened, and kind of correct the position of it. So as it's noisy, and you'll see it speed along, but as it gets dark and is quiet, it'll kind of creep along as it's analyzing the information with a finer level of detail. So I'm pretty proud of the algorithm here. I've spent a lot of time. I extract a lot of commercials out of this myself, and I've gotten it pretty good. The key is finding the right clips to calibrate to. So here, this is calibrated a little bit better. You see it kind of slowed down right there to find that moment. So this is definitely calibrated the way that I want it to be. And then you can go in, and so we can double check these clips so you can see, okay, there's that area, and then it fades out there. But like I say, you can go in here and go, oh, actually, let's find, yeah, fade. So we could go there and just clip that right where we want it. So you can clean it up real quickly. If you have any false positives, you can merge them back together and remove them. If you have programs, if you just want the commercials and you don't want the programs, you can just identify those and remove them easily. And now I have just my commercial breaks and station stingers and everything else that I'm dealing with. And oh, like here's an example that it actually missed this one. So what we're gonna do is just kind of clip that into two. And so you can go through and extract out everything out of a tape really quickly. Or if you actually want the programming, you could do the opposite of this. You can detect the commercials and the programming, and then just delete the commercials and keep the programming. And then because of this merge technique, you can merge this right back into, so here's my collection of commercials. I'm just going to merge this real quick as an example. So we'll just save it. It's going to be exporting actually a report too. So you can see, we'll take a look at the report, and you can see the timestamps on each one of these. It's broken out. I didn't enter in any of the metadata, so the report's not going to be that useful, but you can see what it's doing. It gives progress bars for each video that you're exporting and the clips in the video and how it's going. And then so the process of this, because it's dealing with clips and whole videos that you may or may not merge together, if you are merging them, what you'll see at the end of actually processing the clips is this merge progress. So it's individually broken out, each one of the clips, into their own separate files, and now it's merging them together. And it really helps for doing a lot of the more complicated stuff of the rendering in here, but so we can go in here and you can see, okay, there's our video. Actually, let's just drag it in here. You can drag and drop files, by the way. So here's our merged commercial block. And so you can see it's just a collection of all of the commercials that we've extracted, just kind of grouped together. You know, it has the same dimensions as we had before. And let's take a look at, let's see where it was. Yeah, commercials merge. So I believe, yep, that's the file. So there you can see it has the timestamps for each of the, what would be the chapter markers for all the clips that were merged. When it, not, you know, obviously not when it's in the video, but rather when it's merged together, these are the chapter markers as they're playing in here. So you can designate each one of these commercials and have that, and then just copy and paste this whole thing into YouTube. That's really what it is used, how I use that report. But, you know, again, this is just a real fast, high-level overview of the kind of stuff that you can do. Really quick and easy to edit stuff I didn't get into. There's you can go in here and kind of enhance general VHS tapes, make them sharper if they're kind of fuzzy. This one looks pretty bad. It's, you know, colors are all thrown off, but there's presets, and then if you go in the advanced controls, you can really tweak and change those levels. It supports audio units version 3, the plugin architecture that Apple has in programs. You can get third-party plugins and use them in here to clean up audio. Specifically, what I do and use this for, and you can see decibel levels that you can go through and clean up. You can adjust the audio levels quickly and easily. You can mute, like if it's super loud and you actually want to mute the clip and make it silent. Very, very simple stuff. Revert it to its normal basis. Anyway, I'm sorry, the audio units I was saying. So I have this commercial that has clicking, and I know there's some clicking around here. So I can go in here and you can turn on the spectral analysis, and you can see in here, and I know the clicking, oh, there it is. So that little bit right here at the bottom, you'll see these right here. This represents a click that is happening. Let me try to turn this on so you can hear. See if you can hear that click when that pops. Might not be able to hear it so well over the speakers that I'm playing it through, but you can identify clicks and pops really easily with the spectral analysis. And so what you can then do is add the graphic EQ, the equalizer here. The coloring matches the spectral analysis, so I can go and say, okay, the clicking happens in these frequencies, and I'm just gonna kind of set that, but I just want to kill all of these frequencies, and so that should help remove the clip. Now let's hit a preview. Yep, no more clicking. So you can go through and analyze them, and then you can go through and compare frame by frame and advance with the arrow keys frame by frame to take a look at the difference of the spectral analysis. This is kind of an acceleration of the energy, so that you can see those clicks much easier. And this is more the energy itself in the audible, like what you hear. They're not exactly graphic EQ visualizations, but they're geared towards visualizing the type of information that you're most interested in hearing. You can see I killed these higher frequencies to remove the clips, but you can play around with the other plugins and you can chain them together, and maybe you have, you know, some other filters that you want to add. These are all Apple's audio units. Every Mac has them. A lot of the programs you may use may incorporate them under the hood, or you may use them already that you're familiar with them. But you can go in here and add all sorts of stuff. You can chain these together. You can save this. I should mention this is exporting and importing. In this, it's importing and exporting a project file. Stuff that you're working on, you can save and export and reload it. In here, it saves and exports the audio chain. And so you can save what you like as defined. You can define a quote unquote clean audio, chain of plugins, and then just load it in to this app or this clip, copy it to everything, and you've just systematically cleaned up all audio in all clips. You're going to export all clips. You can kind of get an idea of how powerful this is to do a lot of repetitive tasks over and over again. That's what this really, I'm very lazy. I'm very lazy. So you can do a lot of very quick, powerful things once and push it out to update everything and then to export everything exactly how you want. So that is, this has been a longer video than I intended, but that is the kinds of things that you can do, just want to, let's thank you for, you know what, I should get rid of the spectral analysis. Thank you, and let's bump up the text, and let's just drop this, raise that, or actually raise that up a little bit. I'm gonna go into the advanced settings. Let's give it a drop shadow. So thank you so much for taking a look at Video Barbershop. If you convert VHS tapes, and in fact, any kind of video, you do the same repetitive tasks over and over again, I think you're really going to enjoy how fast and easy you can do them in here, and how you can just do it once and push it out to everything in bulk. And I'm really, this has been a real passion project for the last year. And I'm really proud of where this stands currently and what it's capable of doing, even though it isn't a multi-track, larger video suite. It has enough inside of it to be incredibly powerful, that you may find. And, I should mention this when we're talking VHS. So the one last thing you can do is VHS often has audio drifting from poorly aligned audio. And what you can do is when you go through and create multiple clips, you can go into each of these clips and you can start the video off with a specific drift. And let's say you can adjust the audio that matches and corrects the drift for your clip. And then later on, as you go into each one of the clips, you can find that maybe it drifted even more over time, and you can go in and adjust it and add an additional drift offset. And so in here you can correct that drift over a long period of time in a tape, as long as you can create small enough units of clips in which this is able to identify good moments to clip at, so that you don't get an overrun of, if you cut up the video into a constant amount of clips and you start doing these adjustments, they may kind of overlap into each other. But if you can find pockets of silence in which there's a natural lull in the audio and you can create a clip at that point, you can then do the shift safely without any of the audio drift shifting kind of overlapping each other. That's the best way to clip it. So anyway, you can compare, you can fix audio drifting, you can fix the brightness and the luminance of converted VHS tape. Sometimes this analyzes it correctly, sometimes it guesses correctly, and that's all you need. But for a lot of these controls, maybe you need the more advanced overrides and settings, and you want to customize these specifically. Or maybe you just want to create some video art and just kind of really make things pop out. It's all at your fingertips, and so there's a bunch of, I'll let you go through and play around with all these other settings, but I'm really proud of it, and thank you so much. I hope this is the type of app that is a great utility for an addition into your video editing pipeline, and I really thank you for looking into this, and especially thank you if you buy it and help support this. Thank you so much.